So here we are, folks. It's Saturday night on Virtual Pool 4 Online. We've got an 8-ball World Scotch Doubles tournament. There's only 3 teams in it, so it shouldn't take that long. We're in to see a bit of pool. Just let these guys know that I'm streaming. The 8-ball World is a called shot game, and we're playing Scotch double, so one player from each team plays one shot and then his partner plays the next shot, but all non-obvious shots must be called and missed calls as well if you fluke a ball. So we've got Wit and Potman playing One Pocket Slim and Ed Ball, and it's a race to 5. It is a scratch match. So there's no handicap, and we're in the first rack. And one team didn't make it in time, or else we would have had 4 teams in this. But we have, I don't know, is that Hustling Howie? And who the hell's that? Marvin. They're the team that have got a bye, so they're through to round 2, or through to the final basically. So the winner of this match gets through to the final. We've already lost a player. And Potman has disconnected. We're just waiting on him rejoining. And he's back in. Just check my little doodle thing's working. It's working okay. So Potman and Wit are on the stripes, and Potman needs to pot this. I think it's a 12 ball. It might be the 10 ball. I can't see from here. Let's have a look. It's the 12. So he's looking to get his partner on the 8, and he could go round behind the 6. Well, he's decided to leave him long, and this will be called into the bottom corner, or the bottom corner now as we look. So this for the first rack. In goes the 8 ball, and Wit and Potman lead by 1 rack to 0. And Ed Ball to break in rack number 2. Now it's an open table, so we've got 2 balls have gone down. We've lost the 5 and the 14. So when One Pocket Slim pots his nominated ball, that'll be this ball set that him and his partner will be going for. So it looks like the solids. Now when you're playing games like 8 ball, the emphasis is even more important than plotting your way around this table. If you look at the problem balls are 3 ball. Now it actually passes those two balls. It passes the 9 ball. If I can get my little doodle thing to work, I remember what I'm doing. Right, there we go. I don't think the 9 ball or that ball are blocking it along the rail. It's actually getting on the 3 ball that's the problem. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, there's plenty of room for the 3 ball to go past those two, but that's going to be the problem. But the one solution of getting there is to take that 1 ball and just drop it in dead weight and leave the cue ball along the rail. Now if you look at where one pocket slim is, it looks as if he's... Well, he looks as if he's going to choose the 4. Now he's going to try and maybe nudge into that 12 ball to the right of the 3. Well, that's what he's tried, and that's unlucky. He had the right idea. A little nudge in that 12 ball to the right of the 3 would have done him perfect. So now Potman and Witt have ball in hand, and well, they're going to have their work cut out because that 1 ball is the blocker up the top end. Let's just have a look. So that's the 11 ball, and that won't go in that pocket, so they're going to have to do something. Now, probably the best thing to try and do would be maybe to nudge that 11 off the end rail and try and sneak it in behind the 1 to kick the 1 away and get that 11 ball over that pocket, because that might be their only lifeline in this rack. Because if they make a mistake, the 7 ball is in the open to certainly 2 of the main pockets in the bottom left and bottom right. Well, that's backfired because, unfortunately, Witt listened to Potman telling him to get the 1 out, but that wasn't probably the right shot. He should have tried to kick his own ball in behind the 1 and use his own ball as a blocker. And, well, this is Ed Ball and Slim's chance. Now that's going to run too far. So now Slim's got a bit of a dilemma here because he can't see the 1 and he can only see the 7. So the 1's blocking the pocket up the top end. And now he just needs to try and get good off this 7 ball, because they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be snookered if their opponents get back to the table. That's provided their opponents use the head here, because although they've got more balls on the table, they are in a strong position from the point of view that they can cause trouble. The only problem is that 1 ball. Well, Slim's going to try and cut this, I believe. I can't remember what pocket he nominated. Well, he's played the cross bank. That looks not bad. Well, it's not in, but it's as good as. So now Potman and Witt are pretty much backs against the wall here. They don't have many options. And it's going to take a good shot to, well, get that, I think it's a 12 ball that's up there nearest to 1 ball, and that's going to take some moving. Well, that's not a bad effort, because they've hit their own ball first, which is a legal shot, and they've nudged in the 1. and they've actually blocked the path to the 7, so it changes turn to their opponents, and they've now got 2 balls blocking them to their 7 ball. He's going to try the jump, and he's played it well, got the jump, and the cue ball has died. So now it gets interesting, because the 8 ball, well, it does cut into that top left, but that is a hell of a difficult shot to be taken on. Cut it there and send it in there, or does it squeeze past those 2? Yeah, it does. It just plenty of room to go past there. He needs to watch the scratch though. This will be a good shot. Good evening. Well, Slim's missed the 8, but they've still got their opponents on the rack here, because they're forced to trying to run out. And the pressure's immediately on this first shot. I think Witt is playing the 10. That needs to keep running. Well, probably the best shot would be to take that 12 ball past the 8, because if he hangs it in the jaws, then he's got the pocket blocked. That's probably the safest shot, and if he plays it gentle, not hit it too hard, the cue ball can just go over here, and it still leaves a difficult shot in the 8 ball, so that'd be the wisest shot. That's not bad. Now they're in a much better position. Witt can just drop this 13 in and leave the 14 into the right middle. That should be the plan. So the cue ball needs to get to about here. So he's got a nice angle to drop that 14 in. And he's almost there. Now, Potman needs to dig into this just to get a little bit of draw off that 14, so that he can get his partner to about here to play the 11. He doesn't want to let this cue ball run. If he lets it run, he's going to possibly run into problems. He needs to dig into this and come back. I'm pretty certain he's got the angle to do it. Let's have a look. And get this damn thing to go. Right, let's have a look there. Yeah, the angle's there, but he's got to dig down. And he's playing it really gentle. And the problem with that shot is he's leaving his partner on a blind pocket, and where that 8 ball, although the pocket is open, the 8 ball suddenly doubles in size when you're trying to cut it in past the 8 ball. And he's got to remember the cue ball as well. He's got to let the cue ball run to get back up for this 8 ball. And that's well done. So Witt and Potman, barring a total disaster, are going to take a 2-0 lead. And your 8 ball is a game where you've always got to have your wits about you and look at the lay of the balls. And provided you and your partner are on the same hymn sheet and you're thinking in the right way, then you can certainly plot your way out in each rack. You've got to get wise sometimes, and that was, well, it could have went either way, but in the end, Potman and Witt managed to get their way around it. The 1 ball's just dropped in. So remember, it's still an open table. And Witt is at the table, so he has a choice. He can go for whatever ball he wants to go, and that'll be the nominated ball set that him and his partner will be going for in the rack. So that's the first thing you do when you come to the table in this situation. You have to look at what are the best set of balls to get your way out. Now, these balls are actually sitting pretty nice because there's not one of them touching another one. So there's room to get at each ball. So Wit has chosen the stripes. And you've got to look at where the possible trouble balls are. Now, the problem ball for them here is going to be the 15, which is there behind the 8 ball. That's the one that's going to be an issue at some point. So they've got those 2 balls up the top right to get rid of first. Now, if that slows up, that could be good for the 15. Well, let's have a look. Does it go past the 7? Well, no, it doesn't. That would have been a good shot had that 7 ball been out the way. So now, what does he do? Does he open this pocket up? I think I would be cutting that 13 into the top pocket, letting the cue ball run over between the 4 and the 6. And he's letting it run around the table, and that's dangerous. Well, he's got away with it. That's not the shot I would have played. Now remember, if he pots a 9, well, that 15 is very tight into that middle pocket, but it does go, but you have to really get the cue ball right behind it. He would have to just roll through 2 or 3 inches here. It's either that or he's going to leave his partner the cut back on the 13. So let's see what happens. That looks too hard. He's gone past it. But it does cut past the 8. If you look at it closely, it will go into the middle. This is the make or break shot in this rack. And it could set them up for a 3-0 lead. It's a good shot, and it goes. Well, I can't see where the problem is here, provided Potman can pot the 13 and get his partner onto that top rail. If he does that, then there's a nice angle to get the cue ball past the 3 and the 2 ball once Wit pots the 10 and leave his partner on the 8 ball. There's no problem here whatsoever. And Potman needs to follow through right onto that bottom rail if he can. I think it's going a bit straight. Now, Wit could try using the rail and the ball at the same time here with a little spin, but he doesn't need a lot. He just needs to get a path towards the 8 ball. And he's found a path between the 3 and the 2. That will do nicely. So, this for 3-0. An 8 ball and 1 pocket slim. We haven't really seen them, but we certainly need to see them in the next few minutes because they don't have much room to work with here at 3-0 down and only a race to 5. That's a dry break. Now, this isn't quite as good a table as the last one. There's a little bit of clutter. Now, Wit has chosen the stripes. Take the 14 ball and a little draw off the 14. But those 3 balls are going to be the problem. These here in that line. And let's see what there is up at the top end. Well, they've got themselves on, I think that's the 11 ball, so it goes. I can actually get the cue ball down behind the 2 ball here between the 8 and the 2 to get on that 15. And that would get rid of 2 awkward balls. And that's good. Now, the next one looks like the 13. A big gap there between the 5 and the 4. So anywhere in this zone here gives you a shot on that. It looks fairly simple enough to do. A little stun up or a little spin off the opposite rail there. I think he's gone too far, has he? Oh, that's bad, is it? Let's double check. Yeah, that's now gone ugly. Well, he could jack the cue up and spin around the 4 and still make the potting angle on that ball, but it's not easy. And now he's hit his replay button by mistake. I need to jack it up here. Yeah, he's not jacked it up. So he's not going to... If you don't jack the cue ball up when you put that spin on it, you're not going to get the reaction. You have to jack it up to play that type of sort of gentle massé shot. So now it's ball in hand for Ed Ball and Slim, and the pressure is on here, so they have to have themselves in gear here to get themselves off the mark. Once again, they've got to look at dealing with the problem ball as soon as, and the problem ball's that 6 ball. It certainly can be cut along the rail, but there's only a narrow window to get in to pot it. And even then, if you look at the 6, it's not frozen to the rail, but it's not far off it. Now, has he gone far enough? I don't think he has. Now, can Ed Ball, can he get enough of that? I don't think he can see enough of it to make the cut. That cue ball needed to be another inch to the left, I think. Now, he could actually try cutting it by playing a bit of right spin. And try and make the angle. Well, he's looking for alternatives. The other problem ball now is the 3 ball up there, the red ball, which is blocked by the 13 into that top pocket. And now Ed Ball has pretty much left his partner in no man's land. Well, Slim can play the 3 onto the 13 and pot the 13. It won't be a foul, but they will concede control of the table. But he's done the other option, and that's to try and sneak the 3 ball in behind the 13, which he's done well. And that's now tightly guarding that pocket next to the 13. So the rack is wide open. And it's now back to Slim and Ed Ball. Remember, they're on the solids. Now the 3 can cut in, but if you look now, the 6 ball is in nowhere near a potable position. It's now stuck in a rail next to the 8 ball. Well, Slim can cut this 7 ball into the middle, and he has an angle to try and nudge into the 8 and the 6 here. The angle is good if he can get this right. He's looking to make that connection there. Well, That is pretty good. Now, his partner has a shot in the 4. The danger here is the scratch is very much on into that middle pocket if he plays this plain ball. If he plays it plain ball to pot the 4, the cue ball's going in there. So he needs to be wise to that one. But he's also got to think about that 6 ball for his partner. So this is where you have to rely on your partner having his wits about him and thinking about what he's doing. Now, is he looking to try and cut that into the middle? I don't think he can make any angle on that. He can't get to that side of the ball. Let's look at it from this end. Yeah, he's got to play the pot into that top pocket, but he has to watch the scratch. It's very close to that middle pocket. And I think he's possibly wary of that, or he's more concerned about lining up the pot. But the alarm bells are ringing in my head when I look at the angle in this 4, because if he just runs through, the cue ball is going very close to the middle. Well, he stunned it in as he got the gap. That's an excellent shot. That was well played. Got everything right, and now it's up to Slim to pot the 6. A little run off the rail and a little spin just to help it straighten up. And Ed Ball's got a straight in 8 ball to get themselves into this game. So they're off the mark, and Wit and Potman lead by 3 racks to 1. Well, the 4 ball has gone in. But again, if you look at these line of balls up here, there's nothing good there, and they're all stripes. So well, Potman doesn't have any real other good options on, because he's hampered by the 1 ball if he's trying to play up the table. So he's going to take the 15, and they're going to have to deal with those stripe balls up the top end. Well, Witt's thinking a fair bit here. He's only really got 1 shot on, and that's the 13 ball. And he's going to try and get cute here and try and tuck himself in behind these balls, but you remember there's still a ball has to hit a rail if he tries to do something there. Well, it's hung up the 13. So this is going to be interesting to see whether, I think these 3 balls up there in that left-hand rail, those 3 stripes, are going to be playing a big part in the outcome of this rack. Well, Slim's got an easy shot in the 1. He can pot the 1. He's looking at running the 5 in between that 9 and the jaw, which he's done clean. But he's got a nudge in the 7 there, which has done him no favours for his partner. He's hampered over this 7 ball. He's got the 6 into the middle. I don't know whether he's got an angle to run through and come down for the 1. Yes, he has. Well, this is a little bit straight on the 1 ball, and Slim is tight on the rail, so he doesn't want to be trying anything too elaborate. He can leave his partner the long 2 ball into the top left. Well, he's gone too far from the point of view of the 2 ball. The 2 ball can cut into the middle, but Ed Ball doesn't want to be moving those 3 balls on the left hand side there. If he cuts it in, he's going to run into them. Now, I don't know whether he can see enough of the 3 ball to try and cut it across to the pocket. He certainly can. He can see enough of it, and he's going to hit the 7 as well. He's overcut the 3. So, Potman and Witt on the stripes. They've got the 13 hanging over the pocket. They've got, I don't know what ball that is up there. What one's that? That's a 9 over the other corner pocket. Well, they seem to be drawn into these 3 balls at the moment. You know, he's going to line up this 3 ball combo. Well, I don't think that's the wisest move at this stage. And you're leading 3-1, you don't want to be taking any risks. Well, okay, he's done one thing, he's opened them all out, but they've conceded an opportunity here for One Pocket Slim and Edball to steal this rack. But they have to be careful because they've not a lot of options as to where these balls are going, particularly the 7 ball down at the bottom here. You know, 7 balls only going in there, and that's the one that's going to prove difficult. There shouldn't be a problem with the 3, and if Slim plays this right, his partner should have a shot on the 2 ball. Now, is that going to slow up? Oh, I think he's hooked him, has he? Well, he pretty much has, because he can't see enough of the 2 to cut it into the middle. So now there's a dilemma here. Well, he can't see the 7 and he can barely see the 2. He doesn't have a lot of options. Well, the 2 has been nominated into the middle, so looks like he's going for the jump. The jump stick has been chosen. Well, this is a must shot. He must get it. And he's completely jumped over the 2 and scratched. So this is a gilt edge opportunity for Wit and Potman to take them one more rack towards victory. Well, that's a missed call. Well, it should be a missed call. Well, it has been miscalled. Had the right idea though, trying to get on that 11 along the rail. So it's a missed call, but there's again not a lot on here for Slim. It is not a good position. And Slim doesn't have a great deal of choice here either. They can't call a bank on the 7 because those 2 balls on the right hand rail, as we look here, are blocking the path for that option. He can't see enough of the 2 to cut it into the right middle, and he certainly can't jump the 8 from this distance, so he's very much up the proverbial creek without a paddle here. And I'm at a loss as to what his options are. I don't think he's got much of an option. I'm just checking the stream. The stream looks excellent. Running nice. Well, he's called a pocket. It's a cross bank by the looks of it, if I've read it right. Either way, it hasn't gone in, but the interesting thing is this is Potman and Witt's second chance. The first one was thrown away by missing the 10 ball. And that 2 ball, let's have a look, has made it even more interesting because the path to the corner pocket for that 12 has been blocked. It's very tight, but it will go in off the jaw. But you've got to get in a good position to be able to play it. So Ed Ball and One Pocket Slim are not out of this yet. It all hinges on that 12 ball, that stripe. Now that isn't the best position to be playing that shot right now. And you would think the best opportunity would be if Potman pots the 10, his partner pots that 9 that's down in the bottom left hand corner here. Well, I think that's the 9 ball. I think I checked it. No, it's the 13. If he pots the 13 and then sort of gets the cue ball out to about here off that 13 out to there, he can play that shot in off the jaw. That's what they should be looking at. Well, that's fine. Doesn't matter where the cue ball is as long as he can pot the 13. But once again, Witt doesn't want to be drawn into trying potting that right now because it's not a good shot. You're not looking at the angle, you're looking at a blind pocket. And to me, it'd be easier to pot the 13. Just baby the 13 in and get the cue ball out to there. And he sent it to the jaw. Well, he's blocked a pocket, and Ed Ball can really only choose the reverse bank here. He has to nominate that, I would have feel. Bank the 2 into that pocket there. And there's no real choice in the 7 ball. Let's see what he does. Well, I assume he's had a look at the reverse bank. He seems again inclined to be looking at this 7 ball, and I don't know what he's got in mind. It doesn't bank past the 8 ball. Well, I think when you're 3-1 down and all you've got is really one option, then you really have to go for it. He has to call the bank on the 2, surely. There's no option for a safety here at all. At least I can't see one. So remember, the winner of this match is going straight into the final against Hustling Howie and Marvin, who are waiting there. And they have been waiting there for the past, 40 odd minutes. Oh, that's a brilliant shot. That was very tight past the 8, and he's played that excellently. That was a great shot, but now Slim is going to be playing the shot that I thought he would have went for in the first place. He's now left with the bank. And once again, this is an all or nothing shot. Well, I'll give him his due. Edbal took his time and he pulled that off, and when I looked at that 8 ball, that was extremely tight past the 8 ball, but he played it well, and his partner Slim has to back him up here. It's a good bank. The 2 ball is well off the rail, and Slim is usually pretty good in the banks. Oh, he's fell short. Well, it's looking very much like 4-1 now. That was the all or nothing shot. It's just a pity that Slim couldn't follow his partner there. It would have been a good way to run out the rack. Well, this looks a dead set, doesn't it? Just drop that 12 ball in and leave the 8 into the right middle. Well, it's the point of no return now for Edbal and One Pocket Slim. It's now 4-1 to Wit and Potman, and they need one more rack to get through to the final. Well, the break is dry. And there's 3 or 4 of those solids. Well, there's actually 6 of them out in the open. The one problem one is next to the 1 ball in the right hand rail at the top end there. And the spot balls, well, same thing applies. The only problem ball's the 1 ball stuck next to the 15. So Potman and Wit have made their choice. They're going for the stripes. And those 2 balls at the top end there, they're the ones that are going to be crucial in the outcome of this rack. Because both teams need either of the balls in order to win. And right now they're in no position to win. And the other factor that plays a part in this is that Wit and Potman are going for the stripes. There is no stripe near that other stripe ball at the top end there to get an angle to move it. The balls are all down here, so there's nothing good to be able to get up there and cause some movement with those balls. Now that Ed Ball and Slim are at the table, they've got the same issue. And there is one option here. Well, Ed Ball's looking at the 5, but the one ball that would give them the option to get into that 1 is the 4. If you pot the 4 at a certain angle, you can get the cue ball to run into there and split that 1. He's played the cut in the 5. Well, Slim is probably going to have to call the combo in the 3, surely. Or is he going to try and thin cut that 7? Well, if he plays a thin cut, he's going to certainly hit that 1. And it's maybe thinner than he thinks, but he's certainly got to run into the 1 in the 15 here. And he's made the cut, and that's actually worked out pretty good. Well, they can only lose the rack from here, in my opinion, because everything's sitting good for them. And it's only going to take one of them to do something stupid for them to lose this match right now. They've got the table at their mercy, and they are odds-on favourite to run out here. Well, I think he's got a slight angle in the 4. Let's have a wee look. Oh yeah, he's got more than enough angle to just run the 4 in. Leave Slim nicely on the 2. Oh, well, he used all of the pocket. But they should be home and dry. Well, Slim's talking about leaving his partner the 8 ball into the side. I'd prefer to just run that down the rail. All he needs to do is run the 2 in. If he just runs the 2 in and lets the cue ball run through to here, that means he's just running the 8 down the rail. That's simple enough. Well, that was a good answer. Slim's saying side okay or corner, and his partner says yes. Well, he's got the cue ball out. He doesn't want to just nudge it off that jaw. Just a little delicate drop into the middle. So, one pocket Slim and Ed Ball are still alive. It's now 4-2 to Potman and Wit. Now, these 8-ball matches can certainly sometimes take a while, even though it's only a race to 5. We've already been playing for about 50 minutes, and it's just as well it's not double elimination, and it's just as well there's not a lot of teams in it. They're just the 3 teams. It can take a little while to get these matches through, especially when it gets a little bit more tactical. But anyway, the balls have been nominated. Slim and his partner are on the stripes, which leaves Potman and Wit on the solids. And these solids are looking good, apart from the 6-ball, which is hiding there behind the 8-ball at the top end of the table. Let's have a look. Well, that 6-ball would cut in nicely if the 3-ball wasn't there. Now Wit can pot the 2, and if he pots the 2 and runs off the rail there, he can get the cue ball back out to here for the 3. This is all about controlling the pace. And that's just going to get there. Now, Potman has the problem because there's the 4-ball at the bottom end of the table. Well, that doesn't it doesn't really help him getting on the 6. There's one way it would though. If you got the cue ball to here, and he's going to hook his partner, but if he'd got the cue ball to about there, his partner could pot the 4 and draw up the table to leave that 6 into that pocket there. That would have been the shot. As it is, Wit is hooked in behind what looks to be the 11-ball, and well, he can only play the jump. And then he's got no chance of getting his partner on the 6. And likewise, he can only play the jump on the 6. And that's probably the shot. They're just going to have to ride their luck. If he gets this shot in the 6, the cue ball might run through and at least give his partner a sighter. Is he going to slow down? Well, that's unfortunate. It's a good shot, but this is where 8-ball gets interesting. We've seen Potman and Wit get to this point where they've got one more of their balls to pot and they're on the 8, but now they're hooked. And all of their opponents, Slim and Edbal's balls, are all sitting wide open. And they could be coming to the table here with a chance to get themselves right back into this match. We can hear One Direction in the background of the stream. What do you mean, One Direction, the band? What the hell are you talking about? I don't play music. I don't play music when I'm doing a stream, and the one thing I don't play is bloody One Direction. I'm sure you've got maybe 2 channels open in Twitch. You need to check what's going on at your end. There's no shit like that playing in my PC, I can tell you. Anyway, Slim and Edbal have their chance. What can they do about it? Well, Slim has chose to play the safety, and I don't think that's that good a safety. Let's have a look. Or is it? Oh, I'd be inclined to play a little bit of spin around that 12-ball and just try and catch the potting angle in that 4 down the rail. That would be the shot. Well, it was never going to make the potting angle trying to just hit it plain ball. So that is a sellout. And Ed Ball and Slim, well, it's all in their hands. Wide open opportunity here to get it back to 4-3. With the 9 and the 11 ball, which are those two there, well, they both pot into that pocket. You've got to get on them, and there's a chance right now to get on them here for Slim. Well, still a chance. Ed Ball can pot that 14. And if he just kills the cue ball where the 14 is, or runs through off the side rail, he can get out, so his partner's got a shot. Well, he's going for the 10 instead. But his similar position, he's left him straight on the 9. And Slim can take the 9 and leave his partner on the 11 as well if he wants here. And now they're looking good, because if Ed Ball pots the 11 and can get back for the 14, they certainly want to leave either the 11 or, is that the 13 ball? I can't see the bloody colours from this distance. Yes, it is. They need to be leaving an adjacent ball close to that 8 to get on the 8 easier. Oh, Ed Ball has blown it. He's blown it on the 14. And, well, it's not over yet. That 8 ball, although it looks wide open, it's getting on it. This is a problem. But that was a big miss. Well, that looks pretty good. That's well played. I don't think Witt could ask for any better position on the 8 ball. So this for the match. So Witt and Potman win the match by 5 racks to 2. So we've now got a final. And that should update. So Hustling Howie and Marvin. Is Marvin in the lobby? Let's have a look and see if he is. Oh, there he is. That'll be him there, Marvin 96. I want to see who Marvin is. Anyway, well, the room is up and 2 players are in it. Just waiting on the other 2 getting in. Well, Potman is maybe taking a bathroom break before he goes into the room. All the other players seem to be in the room at the moment. So we'll join it. And we'll get in time. So it's still a race to 5, this final. And we'll see if there's going to be any sort of handicap. The Potman will get an audible warning letting him know that the room is up. And if he doesn't get into the room within, I think it's 5 minutes, then it times out and him and his partner lose the match. Well, Potman has arrived. And that seems strange that there isn't a lag for the break. I would have thought there was a lag for the break in every tournament. Strange. Anyway. Well, it doesn't really make a great big difference in this. It would if they were all world-class players in Virtual Pool 4. Because very good players can plot their way around these balls. Anyway, it's a dry break. Hustling Howie at the table. Well, he's nominated the stripes. Well, here comes Marvellous Marvin. Unless he's somebody else with a name change. Well, the stripes are looking good, but the 8 ball's tied up with the 2. Stripes are all down the bottom end of the table here as we look. And once again, there's not an adjacent ball to allow you to get into that 8 and the 2 ball to split them open. Well, that 14 goes into the left middle there as you look. There is an angle on the 14 to stun down and try and split them open, but you're not going to leave your partner much of a shot if you did that. And the angle on the 14 here is only good just to run into that 5 to leave his partner the 9. So right now Potman and Wit are in a fairly strong position if they get to the table. Hustling Howie has a shot in the 9 ball. He has an angle where he can get into those balls. He's digging into the cue ball. Doesn't want to draw it too much. He wants to use the rail. Well, he's done nothing really. He's not left his partner any real option. Well, Hustling Howie now explaining what his idea was. If he's trying to hit the 3, he should have tried to stun into the 3. Now that would have held and given him a shot in the 8, but to me that was still a bigger target to hit one of those 3 balls. So now, as I said earlier, Potman and Witt are now in a fairly strong position if they can just get their first ball in a pocket here. Now, he can't see the 2, I don't think, and that's the crucial one. Let's have a look. So he can't see the 2 to pot it, and he can't see the 7, so what he should be doing now is looking for a good safety. Got to try and hide that cue ball down here by the 4 and the 5. Well, that actually ended up in a double kiss. If he played it then it's a good shot, because he's blocked to 8. Well, that 8 ball now is in a good position for Witt and Potman, because most of their work here is down this bottom end of the table, and they can play another good safety here if he wants. I don't know whether he can see enough of the 2 to cut it down the rail. Let's have a look from this side. Well, this is putting all your eggs into one basket here. And he's hung it. Well, it's going to be a thin one, but he's going to have to call it and cut it into that corner, I think. Extremely thin cut. But let's see how Marvin handles this. Well, I never saw him call the pocket, but automatically, I missed it. I was probably too busy looking at the top-down view there. But now the 8 ball's right in the middle of the table, and that's now put the pressure on Potman and Witt. They have to run out, because you think if they miss anything here, then surely their opponents are going to have a shot in the 8 a lot easier than what we just saw there. Now, I would be leaving the 2 ball over that corner pocket for the time being and getting rid of the clutter that's down this end. I'd be getting rid of the 6 and the 7 and the 1, and then dealing with this bottom end of the table. Right, let's have a look at the angle he's got. Well, that's dead straight, so that's not good. Well, now Potman has a choice. He can play the pot in the 7, but he can really only go forward or back. If he comes back, he's going to draw into the middle pocket if he's not too careful. He can go forward and get right in behind the 6, and in the end he's done neither. He's left it just in the middle. So Witt can't see the 2 ball clean, so you're going to have to call the combo in the 5 and the 2. And this isn't a dead set, because that 2 is heading to the jaw, and he's hung it. And that was the danger. Hustling Howie is calling the 8 ball into the top left. Now, he's potting it there. He needs to watch where this cue ball's running. If he stuns it, he's got a danger of getting into that middle pocket. He's avoided that. He's missed the 8. And Potman and Witt are going to have a third opportunity to win this first rack. Now, it's obvious what ball that they're calling. It's going to be the 2 ball, but he really should be trying to get behind that 4 off this shot here. And he's still got that opportunity. Just a gentle one in the 5. Well, that's the wrong angle in the 4 for comfort here. He's just going to have to dig in and just draw the cue ball back. And he's done nothing there, he's letting it run. Well, at least he's left his partner an angle, maybe a bit more and a bit more distance than is comfortable. And he's overcut it. So this time, Witt and Potman have blown it. Left an easy 8 ball into the middle for Marvin. And that was all because he didn't get good on the 4. And Potman didn't play the right shot. He should have actually drawn it back to that rail instead of leaving such a distance and such an angle in the shot. So he just made his life more difficult for his partner. There's the one rule I always say in the game of pool or whatever game you're playing, you have to play the right shot. And at the same time though, if that wee voice in your head is telling you here's a shot I should be playing, then you should listen to it more often than not. Potman just played a plain ball shot, let the cue ball run, and left himself, or left his partner, a mile away from the 6 at such an angle than was more than comfortable for his partner. So they blew their chances 3 times there. And Marvin and Hustling Howie have gone into the lead. So Witt and Potman have chosen the solids. Let's have a look at the top end again. Well, that 3 ball is tight onto the 11. Well, not a lot here for Witt. He's got an awkward cut in the 7, but he really has to just maybe play this pocket weight and just try and keep the pace out the cue ball. That's what he's tried, and he's done it. No, he's gone too far. Was playing to leave his partner on the 4 there. Now I think Potman can run this 1 ball past the 9, or at least try and get it into that corner jaw. Very difficult because he's hampered over that ball. Well, he's got the second prize. Of course, Marvin and Hustling Howie have the same dilemma. They've got one of their balls tied up with that solid in the top rail. And at this stage, I would be leaving that ball well alone and leaving the 3 ball tied up with it. This is where your tactical game comes into question. You've got to leave something tied up as a sort of safety net and deal with the problem later on in your visit to the table. As long as you keep potting balls, you'll get your opportunity. Hustling Howie, well, he's had a look at the 13. The 9's blocked off by the 1 ball. He has a shot on that 12 in the bottom left hand corner as we look, but he seems inclined to... What am I doing here? I'm talking about Hustling Howie. It's Wit that's at the table. I've fallen asleep already. Now it's Hustling Howie. Well, Wit's opened up the table, and it's all or nothing now for either team. The only thing I would say is that Potman and Wit look more the favourites to win this because of the lay of the table. That 13 ball, the orange stripe ball, is in behind the 8 ball, and Hustling Howie and his partner are going to have to deal with it. Now, the 13 does go past 8 into that middle pocket, but once again it's getting the cue ball in such a position to be able to pot it, and it's only going to pot there. It's not going anywhere else. Well, two choices here. You can play the 14, or you can play that 11 ball down the rail here, the red stripe on the left hand side. But if he plays the 14 and gently pots it, if he pots that 14, he can let the cue ball run through slightly here and would leave his partner a shot on the 13 into the middle. Let's look at it from that top end view. Yeah, he could gently pot the 14, and that would be the chance to get rid of the 13 ball. That's a shot to play, in my opinion. Well, he's actually still giving his partner a shot. He can get between the 4 and the 8 to play that 13. Well, Marvin has got the 11, which is going to be gentle into the middle pocket because it's very tight. But in doing that, he's leaving his partner no other shot. He can't really get him on a ball here because he can't afford to try doing anything with the cue ball. Well, Hustling Howie can call the bank in the 10, which looks like... Well, I don't know what he's doing here. Trying to nudge the 1 out of the way and sink the 9. Oh, he's trying to squeeze it in behind the 9, but that's a good tactical manoeuvre. He's blocked the pocket. And that puts him in a strong position. And Potman seems to be lured into looking at this 1 ball again. Let's look at it closer when we get rid of this top-down view. Well, there's no option here other than trying to nudge the 9 ball away, which is easy enough to do. And that changes things a fair bit, because the 3 ball's blocking the path for the 9, and the 13 ball, which Marvin and Hustling Howie had a chance of potting, is still stuck behind the 8, and they may well pay the price for not getting rid of that ball when they had the opportunity here. Now, did he call that? That was excellent. Did he call it? I missed it, whether he chose to call that. Oh, he must have called it. I certainly missed it. I missed him calling the pocket. Anyway, Hustling Howie is left with a similar dilemma. Can only play the bank on the 10 ball down into this bottom left hand corner. Well, he's decided against it. Now, if Whit pots the 4 and Potman gets on this 1 with an angle, he can certainly manoeuvre the cue ball around the table down to this bottom end as we look, because that would at least give his partner a sight on the 8 ball into that middle. But I think Potman's been left dead straight, almost plumb dead straight on the 1. Now, if he plays a draw on this 1, he could draw right up the table into this other corner pocket on the right hand side. He needs to squeeze an angle here. That needs to slow down. That's way too heavy. Well, now it's gone completely the opposite way, because Hustling Howie and Marvin are now the favourites, provided Whit doesn't get this jump. Well, he's taking his time about it. And missed it by the proverbial mile. So ball in hand for Marvin and Hustling Howie, and it should be 2-0. And I'd be taking the 13 ball here first of all. Take the 13, get it out of the way. Leaves an easy 10 ball, and much easier to get good on the 8. Well, the angle is nice. Just drop that 10 ball in and just judge the pace to let the cue ball run off there and come out. He needs to get there. That's almost there. That's pretty good. This isn't a difficult 8 ball. So Marvin and Hustling Howie lead by 2 racks to 0. So now let's see how Whit and Potman handle the pressure. 2-0 down in a race to 5. Potman breaking off in rack number 3. So the break is dry. Open table. Well, the stripe has gone down. So Hustling Howie and Marvin are on the stripes. Wit and Potman on the solids. And it's not a good table for a run out. And the solids actually look the better set of balls to be taken, believe it or not. Now Marvin here can pot the 12, but he needs to try and nudge into these balls, which he's done. And that's not bad. That 13 now pots. At least I think it does. Let's have a look. In fact, it's not the 13, it's the 11, but you can certainly cut it in, I think. Oh yeah, you can get to the potting angle. I think it's too much of an angle on this 9 ball to try and pot the 9 and draw in behind the 14. You'd need to draw right into the 7 ball to be able to hold for the 14, but even then I think that's maybe asking a bit too much. Well, he's tried to... Well, it's finished awkward. He's left his partner over the 7 ball if he's going to try and pot the 14. But other than that, he can roll the 10 in. But no, in fact, he can't even do that because he can't see the 10. Let's have a look. Yep, he can't get to the 10, so he's only got one option. Going to have to try and line up this 14. And he's played it well. But no shot now for Marvin. And as I said earlier, these solid balls are actually sitting better than what the stripes were. So, well, Wit and Potman, you're 2-0 down. You've got an opportunity. The 8 ball's wide open. Now get rid of the 7 ball. That's the first priority. You need to get rid of the 7. You don't want to be playing this 7 ball from distance when it's the last ball you have to pot before you take the 8. Well, the opportunity was there to get rid of the 7. It might work out in their favour and it might work against them. We'll see if they've made the right choice. And straight away here, Potman, well, he's fairly straight in the 5 and he's going to have to play a good shot to get his partner on one of these balls, other than leaving him the 7. But if he leaves his partner on the 7, he can pot the 7 and the angle would bring him down to give him a shot in the 3, but he's gone the other way. Well, this might work out if he can get good on the 6. Well, this is a tester for Potman. And I think he's more inclined to look at the 7. or at least he was looking at the position of the 7, so if he's going to pot the 6, he needs to get that cue ball out into the table. And he's managed that, so now just what looks like a gentle pot in the 7 for Wit, and that will give Potman a fairly straightforward 8 ball. So they have made the right choice. They managed to work their way around it. Played the 7 as the last ball, leaving the 8 into the middle. And it's going to get Potman and Wit off the mark. They're still trailing by 2 racks to 1 in this final, and a race to 5. Another dry break. Now Wit's coming to the table. Now I have to say, well, whatever choice he makes here, all these balls are sitting pretty good. Although the 6 ball's fairly close to the 13, you get good in the 6, you can pot that 6 ball, and you can also pot the 13. So not quite as major a choice of ball set here, but anyway, the choice has been made. Potman and Wit are now on the stripes. Oh, that's going to scratch. Oh, well, there's a bit of luck, but he's left Wit with one choice. It's going to be the 14 right down the rail, and that's going to hit the 5. All of a sudden it's gone wrong, but now the 5 and the 3 are tied up, so there is Potman and Wit's safety net. So from what looked like a good opportunity, it has been thrown away, and now it's going to get a bit tactical. It might not get to the stage where they get here, but if they got down onto the 5 with that sort of shot, they could pot the 5 and split the 3 and the 14. Now the other alternative, well, there isn't one, because the 5 doesn't pass those 2 balls into this corner. At least if it does, it's extremely tight. Well, in actual fact, it does go. It goes in off the jaw, no problem, but it's tight. And meanwhile, Hustling Howie has no shot at that end of the table. He can play the cut and the 2. And he's played it too gentle. It isn't going to get there. But no immediate danger because of that 2 balls down here in the bottom rail. That 3 and the 14 are tied up. Oh dear. Well, that was a bad one from Wit. But same again. There's not any immediate danger as long as these two balls remain tied up in this bottom rail. But sooner or later, one of these four players is going to have to deal with the situation. Now, does Hustling Howie play the one onto the two? Because the one's not going to go past the 10 ball, obviously. So he's called the two. And he'll be playing, or he should be playing the one onto the two. It's not dead set, but it's going to have to be the shot. And he's missed it. Well, Potman, he's got the simple choice of playing the 10 ball down that left rail at the top end of the table. And he can drop it in. Now, what's he doing? Well, he can drop it in or let that cue ball run around the corner and try and get over to the right hand side. Get in behind one of those two balls at the top end of the table. Ideally, we'd want the cue ball to arrive somewhere over where the 8 ball is. And I think he's got too much juice on it. Well, that's actually worked out okay. Too much on it, but the little nudge onto the 8 has put the cue ball right on the 13, which I assume is the 13. Yes, it is. Well, he's deciding to take the 14 instead, I think, or is he? Oh. Well, that was a strange one. I presume he's ended up playing the safety, but either that or it was a bad miss. It's hard to decipher what he was really thinking there, but well, Marvin's only got two choices here, and both of them involve jumps, I think. Is he trying to squeeze between the 8 and the rail and cut the 2 in? Well, that's only made it worse. That's now completely locked up the 14 ball. But there is an angle here for Potman. He needs to pot the 13 and let that cue ball go around the table, unless he's going to try and drop in behind the 14. But either way, they have to leave some sort of angle to do something with the cue ball to try and nudge into these balls. They're going to have no shot if they pot these two balls at the top end without trying to deal with this 14. They're going to be completely locked out. Well, he's banked to 15. That's nudged the 2 out, but the 3 and the 14 are still tied up. Now, does Hustling Howie make a split here? Well, he's doing a fair bit of thinking. don't know whether he can make enough angle off this 2 to hit into the 3 and the 14, but he has to really, if he's got any slight opportunity, now would be the time to do it. Oh, that's unlucky. That double kiss has done him no favours at all. 3 ball still tied up with a 15 now. So Marvin's only got the 5 ball to play. Now what's he doing? Playing the 5 into the middle. As long as he doesn't go over ambitious. Well, he has got ambitious and it's worked out excellent. That's a great shot. He's now got the 3 in the open. And Hustling Howie, well, he needs to draw off this 1. Oh, he managed to squeeze out. I didn't think he'd have enough room there, but he's managed to get the cue ball out. Well, it's now looking good for 3-1. Just a gentle 3 ball and nothing else. And that was a good shot from Marvin. Managed to make the split. Sometimes you've just got to grab the bull by the horns and go for it. And that worked out nice. So Hustling Howie and his partner Marvin now lead by 3 racks to 1 in this race to 5. Yet another dry break. Well, this is a bit of an ugly mess. Only 1 ball down in this bottom end of the table. Everything else all crammed up at the top end. And Hustling Howie and his partner have made their choice. They're on the solids, but there's a fair bit of work to get done here. Well, the miss on the 3 ball. Well, there's an angle on this 10 ball, and if Whit pots a 10, he can maybe try and split the 13 and the 14, which are hidden in there. There is enough angle on that 10 to force the cue ball through. Even if he hits the 5 first, he should still nudge that couple of balls. Oh, that's unlucky. He got it too thick. It ran straight into the 5. Extremely unlucky he didn't get any hit on that 14 and 13. But he had the right idea. Well, it's a good bank. Still left with the problem, the 13 and the 14. Now, I think the 14 is too close to the 13 to try and make that combo. We'll soon see. Yeah, he's nudged it along the rail slightly, but at least it's opened those two balls up. There's still now a problem with the 12 ball up there for them. A slight angle in the 7 here for Hustling. How he can nudge into, if he cuts this 7, he can possibly nudge into the 12 or the 8 ball. Well, he's nudged the 6 first, but left his partner on the 4. And really and truly here, if they're going to go for it, they might as well nudge the 8 ball away from where the 12 is. And he's done that. So now it's all out to win the rack. And the problem now is the 5 ball. Well, he's got an angle to go over for the 5. That looks good pace. Well, at least he's given his partner a sighter on the 5. But there's no way he can hold for the 3. But he's really got to go for that 5 anyway. And this is possibly the make or break in this rack. And it's a good shot, and he's found a gap, and he's still giving Hustling Howie a cut on the 3. And the chances are, if Howie gets this right, he's going to nudge up into the 14. Well, he's played that with spin. He's made the ball almost. That was unlucky, but look where he would have left his partner in the 8 ball. Absolutely nowhere. Well, Potman and Witt couldn't be under more pressure. They're 3-1 down. They've got a difficult 13 ball along the top rail there to start them off if they want to go for it. But they've got 5 balls to pot here to really get themselves partially back into this match. Well, let's see what the wise choice would be. Well, he can't make the pot angle on the 15, I don't think. I think that's his problem. And he's went for the cut, and he's missed it. And it looks easy for Marvin here. Just drop the 3 in, get the cue ball out, and try and leave his partner as straight as he can on the 8 ball. Because the 8 ball goes in past the 13, no problem. Just a gentle pot. And I don't think you can ask for a great deal more than that. That looks pretty good to me. And in it goes. So Marvin and Hustling Howie are now on the hill, leading by 4 racks to 1, and it's Witt to break off in rack number 6. In fact, was it Marvin that was to break? I think he's passed to the other team by mistake. Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, he was trying to pass his partner to break, but he actually passed the other team by mistake. So Witt and Potman are doing the gentlemanly thing and passing it back. So this time, as we start rack number 6, it's going to be Hustling Howie to break. I don't think we need to see the replay again. And now Marvin's going to have to pass it back to his partner again if he gets it right. Anyway, we've finally got the rack underway, and this time the 5 ball has gone down, which is a solid, but remember it's still an open table until either player in either team pots another ball, and that will be their nominated ball set. So Hustling Howie cuts in the 1, and Hustling Howie and his partner Marvin are on the solids. And these solids look good. Apart from the 3 ball, it's in an awkward place. I'll just be back in a second. I'm going to get a bottle of water for a drink. Right, where have we got to? So Wit and Potman on the stripes, and they're at the table. And there's the problem there, those 2 balls. And they're sort of blocked off by the 3. So Potman and Wit are right under the cosh here, trailing by 4-1 at the point of no return. And they've got to work their way around the table and work out how to get these balls dealt with up at the top left hand corner. He's gone for the split. And he's got the split, but Potman isn't sitting good on the 14, and I think he's got no other option but to call the 10 ball and play the combo with the 9 on it. That's the shot, he has to get that. So this, to effectively keep themselves in the match. Well, that's unlucky that he's gone dead against the 9. He's played the combo well. Let's have a look at how close that is. Well, he can cut the 9 in. He doesn't want to be trying to do too much with this cue ball here. He's not got a lot of room to work with here because there's balls in the way of where this cue ball wants to go. And he needs to get lucky. Yeah, he had to make the pot. So he's never going to really get the cue ball good, but at least Potman could see the 14. This is all or nothing. The 14 will cut. It's extremely difficult. but he doesn't want to let this cue ball run too far. There's a danger of the scratch into the pocket that he's actually playing from. Well, he's played it the right weight. But he's left it on this bottom rail. But this is a chance for Marvin and Hustling Howie to run out the match here. And it looks a pretty good chance, to be honest with you. I mean, they should run out. If they just take their time, keep their heads and don't do anything silly. And that gets rid of the problem ball. The cue ball and the two ball were just not the most comfortable a position there, but it gets rid of it. So now they're in prime position here to win the match. Oh dear. Well, that was a choker there from Howie. And he can think himself extremely fortunate to have left Witt and Popman hooked on this 14. But that was a bad miss. And that's an injustice for Witt and Popman to be left in that position. And all he can do is just kick it and try and leave it as awkward as he can, and that's not bad. I mean, it's left him queuing over the 14 for that 4 ball. How he's showing a bit of nerves there on that shot, which is, well, Marvin's played a good one on that 4, but he's got Howie under pressure again because he's left him pretty much no shot. He can call the bank on the 6. The reverse bank looks good, but he's decided against that and tried to play the safety, but there's a gap. Now, this is all or nothing for Popman, and there's a very strong danger here of scratching the cue ball down here if he plays the cut, and he can only play the cut on this 14. And he's played it well. How's the luck? Oh, that is an absolute disaster. That's extremely unfortunate. And it's now ball in hand for Marvin and Hustling Howie. Just needs to pot the 3 and roll through for the 6. And Popman played a very nice cut in that 14, but that was unlucky that, well, it was all to do with the pace, wasn't it? If he didn't have that amount of pace in the cue ball, it would have never have got to the middle pocket, but he just had to make sure of the cut. Well, Marvin couldn't ask for it any more straighter than this. So this 8 ball will seal the deal, as the saying goes. And in goes the 8, and Marvin and Hustling Howie have won tonight's 8 ball Scotch doubles. Or 8 ball world Scotch doubles, I should say, by 5 racks to 1. Well, that will conclude our stream for tonight. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again sometime, no doubt.